Welcome to the Early Show with Rachel Price. Follow me along on a journey where I show you the top 10 things learned in literacy and assessments. Number 10, find what motivates your students. Those wonderful intervention or reading inventories, definitely something to do. Find out what motivates your students and what their interests are so you can keep them interested. What motivates you?
Xbox and world history.
Number 9, assessments. We all know how important student growth is, but finding that correct strategy and intervention to use is essential. Without doing the DIBELS, QPS, the past tests, things of that nature, we'll never know what strategies and interventions that we need to help our students grow. Book selections. Having a diverse classroom library to meet the interests and needs of all students is super important. At my house, we have stacks of books, literally everywhere. Resources. You have to be prepared. I found out this semester to be able to search out in different places and be prepared to help your students. If books that you're given don't have the right answer, you have to go search those out. Oh, hey, forgot about you. Next, the Big Five. Fluency. And by the Big Five, we mean comprehension. And comprehension is that cognitive process that we use to be able to understand what we've read. And typically, we can find out if a student is able to comprehend the text that they've read by asking them questions or asking them to retell a story. Good old vocab. Vocabulary is pretty closely connected to comprehension. And the larger the reader's vocabulary is, the easier it'll be for them to make sense of the text. How in the world do we teach vocab? Well, we had some awesome strategies that we learned in our literacy and assessments class. I used the vocab word map quite a bit and found that very useful. Introducing these kids to new words and having them engaged in looking up those definitions is an awesome way to be able to introduce new words into their vocabulary. Fluency. How fluent is a student as far as their speed goes, their accuracy, their expression? If they see a question mark, do they read that sentence as a question? Do they get excited or use an excitable voice when they see that exclamation mark? Fluency is the ability to be able to read without having to stop and think about what that word means or what it says. We cannot forget about phonics. That relationship between the letters in the written language and the sounds in the spoken language and how we put those together and use those relationships to be able to spell words and be able to read them. And then last but certainly not least, phonemic awareness. Those little phonemes, those little units that are making up spoken language and then combined to form syllables and words. Very important for these kiddos. Last but certainly not least, we have phonemic awareness. Phonemes, those small units making up spoken language and then combined to form syllables and words. Students being able to focus on and then be able to manipulate those phonemes in spoken syllables. Really, research has shown that it can really improve their reading more than almost anything. Question is, how accurate are you? I also learned through this class that it's okay to ask It's great that many different districts have mentor programs, because I found myself emailing Dr. Broman quite often asking what I should do in certain areas. And I think it's good to remember that as a first-year teacher, as a fifth-year teacher, as a 10th-year teacher, you're always going to be having questions. No two students learn alike, and you're going to have a varying level of students every single year. You're never probably going to experience the same thing twice. So I think it's very important to remember to be patient, to breathe, and to be able to go to others to ask questions to make sure that you are bringing the very best that you can to your students.